I was your age, I was arrested by SWAT, and I was detained. And that's why we live in this mansion. You don't just put DNA into the microwave and it comes back 30 seconds later and they go, it's mine. 12:15, we got Fuzz on the scene. Is the FBI trying to just run through their entire supply of extra gloves left over from COVID? I don't know.
Bored Since 85 Productions presents Dead Drop. Here is your host, Nate.
Welcome back to Dead Drop. My name is Nate. Today is March 10th, day 38 of the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. On our last video, we went over a quick recap since we are coming into this bad boy extremely late. We went over a few things that could be a possibility, but allegedly, that's where we're at with all this stuff. Allegedly, people, allegedly, just to get the brain kind of fire and think about it and go from there and see what shakes out. So today's video, we're going to go over location, a little bit about the area, and then the timeline. So first we have the location. We are in Arizona. We are in the Catalina foothills, Tucson area, Mount Lemmon nearby in southern Arizona. Okay, if you don't know where that is, I probably don't want you watching this because it's not hard to find. Google it. Remember we said ask Jeeves. Do whatever you gotta do. So location-wise, that's where we're at. Early February 1st, we're talking 1 in the morning-ish, is kind of when it went on. So I went and did the liberty of looking up the weather. The weather is mild. Okay, it's not cold by any means if you're from the Midwest like me. Maybe it's cold if you're from that area, but for the most part, mild. They had a full moon. I don't know why, but I have a gut feeling that the full moon aspect, the snow moon, I think they're referring to. Let me Google. I don't know. Moon phase was full. 99 to 100% full. It's specifically called full snow moon. So the more you know. Or a storm moon. Ooh. Okay, so the moon reached peak illumination at 11:10 p.m. on Sunday, February 1st, meaning it was exceptionally bright throughout the early morning hours. So overcast, it was barely cloudy. I think it said like 13% overcast. The night was part of a remarkably warm, dry winter period. Early morning temperatures were low 50s. So you had low 50s. You had a bright moon, 99% full, the snow moon, and you had very little cloud cover. Okay, so in the dark sky ordnance area of Tucson, because of the observatory, we have ideal conditions. The perp can have a little bit of visibility because of how dark it is with the moon. When you have that moon shining down on you, it's gonna illuminate and make it seem that much brighter. It's not a very forgiving terrain, and I think that comes into play on how you get out of there. You know, if you do have a kidnapping situation and you got her, you know, do you walk her out or do you sling her over a shoulder and take her? I don't know, something you got to think about, right? Like I said, sheriff said she can't walk 50 yards. So do you know that going into it? So your backpack's full of stuff to kind of, you know, keep her at bay? Or do you learn that when you get there and you go, oh, we're going to have to figure out plan B? I think the location and the terrain, again, very important. You know, it kind of leads me to think that you got out in a vehicle of some sort, at least with her, either alive or dead, unfortunately. You're just not carrying her through all of that brush and scrub. And if you do that, you're going to leave behind some you know, evidence. Your shirt's going to get snagged on some pokey, prickly stuff, and fabric's going to be there. Now, if the FBI and the sheriff's department actually find that, that's up to those guys. But I feel path of least resistance, you know, Mount Lemmon area, all that fun stuff, it's going to get rockier. So west of her location if you're going to be on foot. I think that looks best because you can't be on too much of a public road. You have washes, you have power lines that run through there, and it looked to be on satellite that you can kind of get through some of those areas. So that's where I would start to look. Timeline. Nancy takes an Uber to Annie's home, which is approximately 4 miles away from her home. I think like 5 something. I don't know. That doesn't really bother me too much. I think at like 5 o'clock-ish, between 5 and 6, she's at Annie and Tommaso's home. They have dinner. At approximately 9:48, son-in-law Tommaso takes her home. Garage door opens, and then at approximately 9:50 p.m., garage door closes. Now, this is where I kind of, a little bit of devil's advocate on some things. Could the perpetrator have been at her house doing a B&E and then got startled because, somebody's coming home, and they didn't think anybody was going to be there, so they hid in the house, and they were in there for a little bit. 9:48. Most breaking and enterings happen during the day because people are usually at work. They're not at home. So your house is open to be kind of sifted through. The average breaking and entering is about 8 to 12 minutes. You know, it's pretty quick. It's frantic. They're in, they're out. They don't want to be there very long. They don't want to get caught. So from 10 o'clock in the morning till 3 p.m., that's kind of, your high traffic area for breaking and entering. The other one is going to be a little bit later on, and it's an evening one. So it's from 6 till like 9 o'clock p.m., 10 o'clock p.m. What happens there is that falls in our time frame, right? So she gets dropped off at about 9:48 p.m. Maybe somebody's already in the house. So garage door opens, garage door shuts. Tommaso is the last person to kind of see her, and then we don't know exactly, but we do have some timestamps that go through that. 1:47 a.m. we have a masked suspect on the doorbell camera. That part we do know. At 2:12 a.m. there is a motion that is logged on the camera. That's a little bit confusing to me. And we'll circle maybe back to that at a later date, right? So that's important. So 2:12, motion detected. At 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker loses connection. Important to note that just because a pacemaker loses connection doesn't mean that it's disabled. Also did a little research on it because I don't know much about pacemakers, but a person can be dead and that thing still works. Hence the sniffer trying to locate her on the helicopter. Or alive, dare we say. So we're February 1st, 11 a.m. Nancy has been going to online church. Somebody notices that she's not online. So then they notify Nancy's family. I'm not exactly sure of who that person is, but I'm assuming it's probably an Annie or Tommaso situation. I doubt they're calling up Savannah and be like, hey, she's not on the line, okay? At 11:56, the family arrives at Nancy's home. I mean, 11 o'clock, you notice she's gone. 11:56, notified. I don't think that's too big of a discrepancy because then you have to do church, you have to do all that stuff. I'm assuming she's an older gal if she's a friend, so she's not necessarily texting live, like, oh, where are you at? She probably got done with it and went, oh, I wonder what happened, and then reached out and said, hey, listen, Nancy wasn't at the old online church. 11:56 is the time that they're notified. Now, I will say, pretty quick response time. So I don't know where they were at, if they were at home at Annie and Tommaso's, which was only like 4 miles away. But at 12:03 approximately, we had a 911 call. So 11:56, 12:03, that's not bad. You got to get there. You got to notice something's happened, and then you give them a jingle. Now, one thing I will say, maybe it's too quick. And why would it be too quick? Because you already know. Allegedly, Annie and Tommaso, if they are the ones that got there, they already know the fate. They already know what took place. So they have a quick, show up, kick some rocks. Allegedly. It's not like you're diving into too much detail. Front entry, I don't know. I don't think there was too much damage to anything. So I ask you, 7 minutes to get to a loved one's home after somebody says, hey, they weren't at church, online church. You show up and in 7 minutes you do a full sweep of the area, you deduce we should call 911. Is that fast? Is that slow? I don't know. I'm asking you. Let me know. 12:03, 911 is called, and then at approximately 12:15, the sheriff shows up. I mean, they had a quicker response time than the sheriff did. So, what does that go to show you? Go you, sheriffs. 12:15, we got Fuzz on the scene. So now that we got sheriff on the scene, investigation officially begins. February 2nd, the sheriff starts to process the house. This is a tedious process, takes a while. There is blood discovered on the porch on the 2nd of February. Officially, too, this is when Pima County Sheriff's Department says, hey, we do have some foul play. So there's a little bit of an abduction situation, kidnapping, we don't know, missing people. So that's kind of when their antennae go up. February 3rd, we're on day 4, right? Search teams start to canvass the area. They're looking for clues. They're looking for anything that may have been disregarded by the perpetrator or dropped by Nancy, for that matter. Maybe there's some clues that she tried to leave behind. How did she leave the house? Was she over her shoulder and she was leaving some breadcrumbs? We don't know. February 5th, important. We're on day 6, and they confirm that the blood on the outside of the front door is indeed Nancy's. Right? Now, we don't know if it was there prior to. She is on blood thinners. And we don't know if it was after or during. We don't know that. I've seen some pictures of it. I did take a couple courses in blood spatter, and I have some thoughts on it. So, different video. Also, something that happens on February 5th is a ransom note. A ransom note shows up. And the ransom note is sent to media outlets. I mean, I guess if you want your information out there, I guess that's the way to go, right? Don't give it to the cops. They may not let everybody know. So go to the media and they'll spread it around. Again, February 6th, day 7, investigation is going through tons and tons of leads and all kinds of tips, right? The reward money starts to kind of increase, so that's going to be helpful. Also a double-edged sword with the reward money. I don't know. It can do good things and it can do bad things. It can bring a lot of people out of the woodwork, and then it bogs down law enforcement with false tips. When they should be looking here, now they have to go take everything serious and they look over here. But that's their job. So, kind of a double-edged sword, like I said. February 8th, more ransom notes are circulating online. Authorities are quick to say, hey, we don't know the authenticity of this. It is what it is. February 11th, the FBI decides, hey, we're going to release this doorbell footage that we have of the suspect. So this is our first glimpse at him. So this is where we get to see him. They had to go through some routes. I think it was Nest. So they had to go to Nest. Google, I believe, owns those guys. So they had to go through those guys in order to get, some footage to put out to the public. For people who don't think that your devices are on when they're just sitting there, take note. They're on. Ring cameras always are taking a snapshot, even when they're not recording, and you can kind of set that in settings, 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, whatever. But in the meantime, that's going somewhere, people. Put your tinfoil hat on for a second and just realize that your information's out there. It's going places. The cloud. I don't know, but it's not just gone. I'll tell you that much. For free. For free, I'll tell you that much. The next day, now because you have a suspect and you have a scary person standing creepily on a front door, you get a massive influx in tips. See something, say something, goes through the roof. Good, bad. You got guys who are going, hey, I work with this guy and he's creepy and you should check into him. And they have to some sort to get some credibility. They gotta reach out, get a little bit of credibility, and then if they find that to be credible, then they got to go talk to that guy. It's February 13th, day 14, a little bit of SWAT action. This is where we get a man who gets detained, and we'll cover him down the road. I'm not going to say his name because he's been cleared. That sucks if he didn't do it. Or he maybe still did do it, and they go, you know what? We don't have enough yet. Let him go. and then we'll reel him back in after he's given us what we need. February 15th through the 19th, we're finding gloves left and right that the sheriff's department or FBI, for whatever reason, has discarded all over the place, allegedly. So that's not helpful, because now we're going to have to run that DNA. Again, bogs down the system, takes time to figure out DNA. It doesn't, you don't just put DNA into the microwave and it comes back 30 seconds later and they go, it's mine. It takes time. It has to go to the lab process. They have to cross-reference everything, make sure there's no contamination. Did they secure it properly? It's a whole process to collect evidence, and that, I think the general public just thinks they're taking it and throwing it in a plastic baggie because that's what they see on TV. And if it is the FBI leaving those gloves, why? Why? February 20th, interesting. The FBI starts to look at a little bit of an internet outage in the neighborhood. They keep doing this a lot. That's because don't know. February 21st to the 24th. Kind of business as usual. We're finding bits and pieces. We're examining more vehicles. February 25th through March 1st, more searching, no arrests. I might be wrong in this because I didn't look it up, but just because I've been covering it. Pima County Sheriff Christopher Nanos, he very little pressers. Now that could be two reasons. Number one, he just doesn't have anything. And he doesn't want to look stupid. Sometimes your local authorities, they're just kind of ill-equipped for that sort of a thing. That's not something that they do. This is a pretty large case for a sheriff of Pima County. He deals, I'm sure, with a lot of immigration stuff and a lot of different, backlash of that. So to have a higher profile kidnapping in the Catalina foothills, tied to Savannah Guthrie. March 2nd, somewhere day 31. The dude that they hooked and they detained and they had a whole SWAT and it was all over the news. He goes public and he says, listen, I'm going to sit down and tell you my side of the story. You've ruined my life. And what he's doing is he's setting you up for a lawsuit. So get ready for that. It kind of sucks, but I get it. He's probably getting side-eyed. From what I gather, not the greatest dude to begin with, but hey, what are you gonna do? That's life. That's the world we live in. Sue happy. You get detained because we're looking for a kidnapper in the area, and you fit the build a little bit. You kind of walk like them. You got some similar features, and I'm sure they had a little bit of other evidence to go off of instead of just knocking on some random dude's door. But that's the way it goes. Cooperate. Get out of there. Sue them, make some money, call it a day. At a minimum, you have a great story to tell your grandkids down the road. That's all. When I was your age, I was arrested by SWAT, and I was detained, and that's why we live in this mansion. So there you go. March 4th, day 33, more gloves. DNA confirms, has nothing to do with it. Why do we have so many black gloves in Tucson? Seems like there's a lot of black latex gloves floating around this joint. Again, they're just whipping them around, or did the suspect throw them out? Like clean ones with glove on. Probably not. That's crazy. That's a tinfoil hat situation all day, right? March 6th, FBI is kind of canvassing the area. They're doing a little bit of foot patrol. There's been a little rub between the sheriff and the FBI, so now the FBI, I think, is kind of taken over a little bit more in charge. So that, unfortunately, gives us all the way to March 10th, today, and we don't have anything. We don't have anything, the public. I don't. I'm 6'2", by the way, so I don't fit the build. And I'm pretty sure my alibi is pretty tight. Live anywhere near that place. It's very cold today, and we're gonna get snow. That's your timeline. What do you think? Is it something that, again, is it a parasocial relationship? Were they there and then they had to get rid of her? Was it planned out? It looks premeditated to me. I'm telling you right now, though, there will be some information coming out soon. The issue is she's had a lot of maintenance done on the place. She's had other people in and out. She's had family members and friends, and I'm sure parties. You have to think about it that way. Like, oh, what's taking so long? It's a process. Kohlberger, 40 some odd days before they got a hit on his dad. We covered location, we covered a timeline. We're gonna keep going. You know, we have some other stuff to look into. We got a suspect, we got a victim. We have a suspect now. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is it the sheriff's department bumbling, dropping evidence and making mistakes? Is the FBI trying to just run through their entire supply of extra gloves left over from COVID? I don't know. Is it a B&E gone wrong? Were they in the house when she got home, when Tommaso dropped her off? Was it Tommaso? Allegedly. Speculation. Let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe. I know the voiceover guy is going to say that in a second, but I do appreciate it. So, thank you for watching Dead Drop. See you soon.
Thank you for watching Dead Drop with Nate. Please like and subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell for notifications to stay up to date with the latest in true crime. In the meantime, stay safe out there.